सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ सुखं नित्यं स्वप्रकाशं व्यापकं नामरूपयोः अधिष्ठानं बुद्ध्यबोध्यं बुद्धेर्दृग्यप्तु निर्मलम् अपारं सर्ववेदान्तवेद्यं प्रत्यक्परं महः तदेवाहं न मत्तोऽन्यदिति मे निश्चिता मतिः। Vichara Sagara, 4th chapter, page 112, topic 200, second paragraph, first line. घटादिबाह्यपदार्थज्ञानोत्पत्तिक्रमस्त्वेवम् इन्द्रियाणां घटादिविषयैः सह संयोगदशायामिन्द्रियद्वारा बहिर्निर्गतान्तःकरणम् घटादिविषयसमानाकारतां प्राप्नोति यथा अयसा मृदावा निर्मितमूषायां निषिक्तधृतताम्रादिः मूषा समानाकारतां भजते एवमन्तःकरणवृत्तिरपि घटादिसमानाकारतां भजते। Nischala, the author of this Vichara Sagara text, original author, Vichara Sagara text was in first in Hindi. It is released, it is written by Nischala. Later it is written by another Swami in Sanskrit language that we are seeing now. In this topic, Nischala, that's why the original author name only I am mentioning all the time, Nischala. In this topic number 200, this author, Nischala, introduced that aham vritti, I thought. Aham vritti, when it rises in our mind, vritti means a thought, aham means I thought, when it rises, sakshi chidabhasa yogo yugapat bhanam, he said. At a time, simultaneously, sakshi and chidabhasa both are evident. Only sakshi cannot have that aham iti vritti, non, I am. And chidabhasa also alone cannot have that vritti, I am. That I am thought comes in everyone's mind. This thought is a mixture of chidabhasa and chit, sakshi chaitanya. That is original consciousness and reflected consciousness. That is the meaning. Both of them simultaneously together involve in the thought of I am. Then he said, in this I thought, RC and OC both are there, and he presents Chidabhasa is not self-luminous. Chidabhasa is not self-luminous. Chidabhasa is illumined by Sakshi. Because Chidabhasa by itself not having an independent existence of its own. Reflected consciousness doesn't have independent existence of its own. Whereas Sakshi Chaitanyam, the original consciousness, has got independent existence of its own, that is called Swatantra Satta. The consciousness has got Swatantra Satta. Chidabhasa, the reflected consciousness, has got Paratantra Satta. Satta means existence. Paratantra means dependently existing upon the Chit. Chidabhasa is dependently existing upon the Chit. Without knowing all these things, we are doing Vyavahara every day from morning to till night with Ajnana. With Ajnana means whether you know it or not, the Vyavahara is going on. But who is doing this Vyavahara? How this interaction Vyavahara is going on? Only Vedantic students only understand, not anyone else. Everyone does Vyavahara, interaction with the world, but none of them knows this. Who is this? I am doing Vyavahara. How am I doing? What is the mechanism? When you come to Vedanta, only you come to know who you are really, how you are doing interaction with the world. And in interaction, Sakshi is there, consciousness and Chidabhasa both are together. One is independently existing, another is dependently existing. This much knowledge to get, to understand, it takes decades. Those who are studying from decades, they grasp very easily because this is the subject matter we are seeing from long time, from all our Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Prakarana Grandhas. Having said this, then Nischala taking an example, instead of aham vritti, he wants to say that how any knowledge of any object in the world comes to us. Any knowledge. Any knowledge means any knowledge of any object. Any knowledge of any object. We are getting house knowledge, car knowledge, pen knowledge, book knowledge. Every knowledge, how it is taking place in our mind. Morning onwards, you get breakfast knowledge, idli knowledge, milk knowledge. While eating, you know what you are eating. I have knowledge. Therefore, now he take a sample in this first paragraph of this topic, second paragraph, that is Ghatadi Bahya Padartha Jnanotpatti Kramaha tu evam. The method of understanding that pot, etc., pot or clip or any vastu, any object, Ghatadi, Ghata means a pot, Adi Padartha, etc., Bahya Padartha, external object. Bahya means external, Padartha means object, Jnana Utpatti, the knowledge rise in your mind. I showed this pot in my hand. This is a pot. So the pot is outside you, Bahya, Ghata. You got the knowledge, pot knowledge now. Jnana Utpatti. How you have got Jnana Utpatti now? The Krama is there. Method is there. That method is this, evam, in this manner. What he said, Indriyanam Ghatadi Vishayaihi Saha. So Indriya, sense organs, eye particularly we take here, eyes, Vishayaihi, this Ghata here. He takes a lot of objects and a lot sense organs differently, Vishayaihi, Indriyana. But we take one object, one sense organ here. Samyogaha. So your eyes are contacting the pot in my hand, and my eyes are also contacting the pot in my hand. Samyogaha, that is called Samyoga. Samyoga Dashayam, at that time. Indriya Dwara, through the eyes, sense organ of knowledge. Indriya means sense organ of knowledge, eyes. Dwara, through that. Bahir nirgataha antahkaranam. My mind goes out. Mind means the thought in the mind. The thought rises in the mind. It goes, mind comes out as a thought form. Bahir nirgatya, having come out, antakaranam, having coming out, ghatadi vishaya samanakaratam prapnoti. The thought envelopes the pot. Thought envelopes the pot and gets the pot akara vritti, ghatakara vritti, prapnoti. So ghatadi vishaya samanakaratam. Your vritti and pot become one and the same. So ghatakara vritti. You see the pot, immediately thought gets, this is pot. Eyes have seen that. Samanakaratam bhajate. Then he gives one example. Example means how this thought envelopes the pot. If you want to understand this, Nischala says, I'll give you one example. Nischala means here the Guru is telling to Tattva Drishti. That is the dialogue going on between Tattva Drishti and Guru. Yatha, just as Ayasa, Mridava, either by iron or Mrida clay, Nirmita Mushayam, that which is Nirmita means made out of. Nirmita, mold. Achu, mold, Mushayam. Nishikta Drita Tamradi. Now you can learn Sanskrit also. Very simple, you see. Nishikta, once you pour, Nishikta means poured, filled, that Musha is empty. It has got a shape. Nishikta, Drita Tamra, melted copper. Tamra means copper. Adi Padati, any metal you take, gold or silver or anything. Musha, Adihi plus Musha, Adir Musha is there. Adihi plus Musha. Musha samanakaratam bhajate. That melted copper or gold or silver, whatever you pour inside, it takes the shape of that mold. If it is Vinayaka, Vinayaka shape. It is Saraswati, Saraswati shape. If it is Krishna, Krishna form, Krishna shape. It is a cow, cow shape. It is a peacock, peacock shape. If you go to a shop, the doll shop, you can see that all are molded. Molded forms we are seeing. When you buy that form, murtis, that all are molded in the melted metal they pour and it comes out. And you go and see, so nice, Krishna is so nice, Vinayaka is so nice, you say, this is the way it comes out to the murti. And you love and buy it, and you keep in your puja room. Do everyday worship. How it comes in this manner, it is coming. But we don't bother all these things. Nishikta Mushaya, Drita Tamra, Swarna, Rajata, who bothers? I buy that deity and the doll and idol and bring and put in my puja room and do puja. We never think about all these things. How many people work for that to manufacture that idol. Okay. Evam antakarana vrittirapi. This is the Ashtanta. What we want to say here, we have to understand. So, like that, example, that mold, melted metal takes the form of that mold. Similarly, antakarana vrittirapi. That vritti, thought which rises in our antakaranam, the mind, ghatadi samanakaratam bhajate. Whatever object it envelopes, it pervades, it looks at. Now you are seeing the pot, you are looking at the pot, so your thought envelops the pot. that akara, ghatakara. If it is not ghatakara, it is clip akara. If I show the clip akara, whatever object is there in front of that sense organ, it wants to see that akara it takes. That's all. Bhajate. Antakarana vrittirapi ghatadi samanakaratam bhajate. Bhajate means it takes that form. So this is the first step over. Now the second step, up to here we saw in the last class. Now I will read this portion. Second step. Iyancha vrittihi chaitanya bhasa sahitaiva jayate na abhasan vina udeti vritti antahkaranasya parinamaha antahkarana parinamasya vrittiriti sanya antahkaranam hi satvaguna karyatvat swachham ataha tatra chaitanya abhaso jayate tathaiva vrittihi api vrittirapि swachha antahkarana karyatvat tatrapi chaitanyabhasah jayate utpadyamana sa vrittihi sabhasantahkaranadeva utpadyate ataha atopi karanat vrittihi abhasa visishtaha eva iti vishishtaiva udeti. Visishtai udeti is there. Vishishta eva udeti. Now, some of the important points we have to know here to understand this portion. Very, very technical, but we don't find this much elaborately in any other Prakarana Granthas. There are twofold knowers are there. I introduced in the last class. Chaitanyam, consciousness also can be called as knower, I said. Sakshi also can be called as knower. Normally the knower, the pramata, knower is a mixture of OC plus RC plus RM. OC means original consciousness, RC means reflected consciousness, plus RM means mind. All the three put together become pramata. Once three put together becomes pramata, the knower jnata comes. This is the knower. Then next point is what? Even though we don't accept Sakshi Chaitanyam originally as knower, in Vedanta, we don't accept Sakshi Chaitanyam as knower originally. But as a compromise version, we accept that knowerhood of Sakshi Chaitanyam. The knowerhood of Sakshi Chaitanyam we accept. Why we accept? Even Brihadaranyaka says, Vijnata iti. Chaitanyam is called Vijnata. Why Upanishad use that word? Even though Sakshi is not originally knower, why Upanishad use that? The logic is, Chidabhasa mind gets that status of knower. Once Chidabhasa is there in the mind, Antakaranam, and this Chidabhasa Sahita Antakaranam goes outside. Once it goes outside, it becomes the knower of that so and so object. Knower of that so and so object. This knower of that so and so object, which is a mixture of OC, RC, RM, gets the name knower, really speaking, because it is blessed by OC only. Without OC, where is the Chidabhasa getting the knower status? Without OC, how the Chidabhasa can go out along with the mind, thought, and get the knowledge and get the knower status? Therefore, Chidabhasa is blessed by the Chit. Chidabhasa in Antakaranam is formed because of Chit. Because of the blessings of the original consciousness alone, Chidabhasa is formed. Because of Chidabhasa alone, inert mind has become Chaitanyam, sentient. That in that mind, sentient mind, vritti, sentient thought has arisen. That thought only goes outside. That thought only envelops the object. Therefore, really speaking, that status is belong to the Atma Chaitanyam only. That is why, as a compromised version, we accept that since Upanishad says we have to say this Sakshi is also a knower. But there is a difference. The knower mind and the knower Sakshi, there is a difference. Antakaranam as a knower, Sakshi Chaitanyam as a knower, is there any difference? Difference is there. What is the difference? When Antakaranam wants to know this, Chidabhasa Sahita Antakaranam wants to know this thought, it has to undergo a change. Modification is there. Changingly, it is getting the knower status. Modification is there. Vritti is a modification of the mind. Vritti is nothing but a modification of the mind only. Therefore, this vritti, which is the modification of the mind, vritti, manas parinama, manah parinamaha eva vrittihi. Therefore, this vritti, manah parinama vritti, is a changing. Sometimes thought, sometimes a clip thought, sometimes a pen thought, sometimes book thought. So vritti is changing. All the time you don't have thought only. If some other object comes, some other thought will come. That object thought will come. So it is changingly knower, changing knower. Whereas Sakshi Chaitanyam is unchanging knower. Sakshi Chaitanyam never change, whether you see pot or clip or pen or book or anything. Sakshi Chaitanyam will never change. There is no parinama. There is no modification. Unchanging knower. This is the difference. Sakshi Chaitanyam is unchanging knower. Antakarana, Chidabhasa Sahita Antakarana is a changing knower. This is a very important note we have to remember. Once you understand this, then this OC level, when from the standpoint of the mind is witnessed by that OC, therefore OC is that knower from the standpoint of the mind, it is called Sakshi. OC is called Sakshi from the standpoint of the mind. Sakshi, knower, the knower of mind. That is the difference. Then what? Without sense organs, mind cannot go outside. They are the gatekeepers, sense organs. Mind goes either through the eyes or ears, mind goes through the nose, mind goes through the tongue. Outside it goes only through the sense organs. Then those sense organs, when they are the entry gates, like the gate doors, like, so the mind, the vritti goes via sense organ. Via sense organ it goes and look at the objects. Eyes look at the objects, nose smell the object. And if you see this flower, now eyes are seeing the flower, nose is seeing the smell, feeling the smell. Actually, nose is a golakam, eyes are golakam. It's a golakam, indriyam. But whereas the mind vritti goes and pervades, envelopes the object. Envelopes the object. That is very, very important point we have to note. Now, the mind being a product of samasti sattva guna, that he want to say here, important point. This vritti and the mind, both are sattva guna only. Mind is made out of sattva guna. Vritti also is sattva guna. Sattva guna is always refined. Therefore, in that this knowledge take place. So that is what he is going to explain. Very important portion. Vritti vyapti, phala vyapti, he is going to describe, which we saw in Panchadashi. Iyam cha. Now look at the paragraph. Fourth line, last word. Iyam cha. This vritti chaitanya abhasa sahitaiva jayate. In the second step, now we are going to see the Darshtanta. Vritti, thought, chaitanya abhasa sahitaiva jayate. As the vritti, thought, how it is born, how it rises in the mind, because of chidabhasa. Actually, mind is jadam. In inert mind, thought cannot rise. Because of the blessings of Chit, original consciousness, Chidabhasa formed. Chidabhasa is also sentient, makes the Jada mind sentient. In that sentient mind, sentient thought comes. The sentiency is because of Chidabhasa, Chidabhasa is because of Chit. This much process you have to register. Vritti chaitanya abhasa. Chaitanya abhasa means a reflected consciousness, RC. This vritti, the thought, sahita. Chidabhasa sahita vritti jayate. Na abhasam vina udeti. Underline all these words, you have to underline and remember to understand the future further lesson. Abhasam na udeti na abhasam vina udeti. Without this chidabhasa, abhasa means chidabhasa. Without reflected consciousness, thought cannot rise in the mind. That is the idea. Without reflected consciousness, abhasam vina, without, na udeti. Kim na udeti? Vrittihi na udeti, in the mind. Thought, my thoughts are running, going here and there, vacillation, so many thoughts, all are rising only in the mind because of Chidabhasa, because of Chit only, finally. This we are blissfully ignoring. All these are all. We are managing not to understand, and people are nourishing the ignorance further and further. Already ignorance is there, not knowing all these things, and not having any interest also. Some people, they are spending their time. But some few people, students like you, who are interested and understanding this, na abhasam vina udeti. Vrittihi antakaranasya parinamaha. What do you mean by thought? People complain always, my thoughts are, evil thoughts are coming, Swamini, bad thoughts are coming, and so many disturbed thoughts are coming, violently coming. They are very, very pressurizing me. Understand what is thought. Study about thought. He says, antakaranasya parinamaha. What do you mean by vritti? Vritti is nothing but a modification of the mind. There is some modification, change, parinama. Antakarana parinamasya vrittiriti sanya. The name of the vritti is nothing but antakarana parinamaha. Vritti iti nama. It is called as vritti. What do you mean by thought? I was reading a thought power book. written by Swami Shivananda of Rishikesh. Shivananda Divine Life Society. That Swamiji wrote a book called Thought Power. Daily I used to read that book. Every day it is like a parayanam for me. Thought power, thought power, thought power. What is thought, how it rises, what is the nature of thought. A wonderful book. Till today I have that book with me. I love that book. When I was reading that book, I was only 17-year-old, 17 or 18. I used to read every day. I keep some books with me every day to study, to read. So, Bhajagovindam, Nirvana Shatkam, like that. This Thought Power also, Thus Speak Ramana, those books are all I used to keep. Who Am I? All these books every day I read, little. So, one of the book is Thought Power. So, this thought is what very nicely he explains in that book. So here he says, Antakarana Parinamasya Vrittihi iti Sanya. Sanya means name. Modification in the mind is called Vrittihi. Vritti means not profession. Here Vritti means thought. Sanya. Antakaranam hi Sattva-guna karyatvat swachham. Antakaranam, your mind. Antakaranam means mind. Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara, Manaha, put together Antakaranam. What do you mean by Antakaranam? Antaha means inside. Karanam means instrument. Internal sense organ, that is called. Eyes, ears, nose are all called external sense organs, but the internal sense organ is Antakaranam, instrument of knowledge. Antakaranam. That Antakaranam is Sattva-guna karyam. It is a product of Sattva-guna, made out of Pancha-bhuta Samashti, Pancha-bhuta Sattva-guna, Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apaha, Prithvi, all of them are having Sattva-guna. All of their Sattva-guna put together, mind, Antakaranam. That Sattva-guna is Swachham, refined, pure. Therefore, Antakaranam is also pure, Swachham, clean mirror like. Swachham, Sattva-guna karyatvat. It is made out of Sattva-guna. Therefore, what? Ataha tatra chaitanya bhaso jayate. That is why in that Chidabhasa, Chaitanya Abhasaha means Chidabhasaha. RC Jayate, reflects. Everywhere you cannot see your face. Only when the Swachha, polished, refined surface is there, you can see your face. That's why you can see on the bald head, Puja Swami jocularly says, you can see the reflection on the bald head also. Why? Bald head is very clean, refined, jocularly says. Like that here also in the, everywhere you cannot see your face. In the wall, can you see your face? It is not Swachham, but mirror is Swachham, you can see your face. On whatever refined surface, polished surface, you can see the reflection. Since the Antakaranam is made out of Sattva-guna, therefore it is Swachham. Therefore, in that Chaitanya Abhasaha Jayate. Ataha Tatra. Tatra means what? Antakarane. Antakarane Chaitanya Abhasaha, reflect consciousness, Udeti Jayate. Tatha eva Vrittirapi. Since that reflected consciousness is raised, born in that Antakaranam, Vritti also is the Parinama of Antakaranam. So Vritti is also Parinama of Antakaranam. Mental modification is also only called thought. Thought also must be Swachham. Because whatever is the Karana Guna, Karya Vartante. Antakaranam is the father, like Vritti is like a child. So Antakaranam has got Swachhata, purity, refined. It is like a crystal. vritti is also swachham because it is its effect. That is what he says. Tatha eva vrittirapi swachha antakarana karyatvad. Tatra api, in the object also, chaitanya abhasaha jayate. In the object also, chaitanya abhasaha. Since vritti goes outside, vritti is associated with that chidabhasa which is refined. In the mind also swachhata is there, chidabhasa is formed. Vritti is also swachham, therefore along that vritti, chidabhasa, together they go and envelop the object. Chidabhasaha jayate, where tatra api means in the object also chidabhasaha is born, because vritti goes outside means along the chidabhasa only vritti goes. Vritti cannot go outside by itself. It is like extending the beam light. Some animals, they have long tongue. They don't move from that place and they send their tongue and catch the insect and they put in their mouth. The tongue again it takes back. Like that here also, from the mind, antakaranam, the thought goes out and pervade, envelope the object. That is what he says, Chaitanya abhasaha jayate. Therefore, this Chaitanya abhasa, reflected consciousness, is enveloping the object also. Vritti, abhasa sahita vritti. Two are there. Vritti plus chidabhasa. Both are there. Utpatyamana sa vrittihi. That vritti which is born, that vrittihi sabhasa antakaranad eva utpatyate. Because of that RC only, this vritti, swachhantakarana karyatvat, I told you, sabhasa antakaranad eva. That antakarana which is having chidabhasa, because of that only this vrittihi utpadyamana, it has born, arised. Ataha api karanat, because of this reason also, vrittihi abhasa vishishta eva udeti. Vishishta eva udeti. That means along with RC alone, the thought will rise and goes outside and envelopes the object. This much process is going on when you look at the object, any object. What a mechanism. Bhagavan, who can do this? This much is going on in every perception of your knowledge, every object. When you see this much process, within a fraction of seconds it happens. Okay, with this he says that vritti vyapti, that thought pervading object is called vritti vyapti. What do you mean by vritti vyapti now? That sabhasa antakarana vritti which raise in the mind along with chidabhasa, it pervades the pot. Once it pervades the pot, envelopes the pot, that is called vritti vyapti. And chidabhasa is also there along with vritti. Therefore, that chidabhasa pervasion, chidabhasa enveloping the pot is called phala vyapti. Chidabhasa is called phalam. Phalasya vyaptihi phala vyaptihi. So chidabhasa pervasion is called phala vyapti. What type of chidabhasa? Vritti sahita. Vritti sahita chidabhasa, chidabhasa sahita vritti. So vritti vyapti and phala vyapti, both are there on this pot. When you look at the pot, now when you look at the pot in my hand, two are enveloping the pot. What are they? Vritti vyapti. Vyapti means enveloping or pervading. Vritti vyapti and chidabhasa. Chidabhasa is called phalam. That is called phala vyapti. Okay, this is called vritti vyapti phala vyapti. However, how many times you listen this vritti vyapti phala vyapti? Phala vyapti is always mind boggling. Oh my God, what is this phala vyapti? Phala vyapti is nothing but chidabhasa pervading the object. Outside object is called phala vyapti. That pervades along with the vritti. That is called phala vyapti. I hope I have communicated. This paragraph is over. Now he is going to enter the next topic. It is a diversion, intermediary, some required topic only, a side topic, but important topic. Now, before going to that, you must have this clarity. This paragraph is very, very important paragraph. What? Ghatadi bahya padartha. Bhajate, that example over. Afterwards, eva antakarana vrittirapi, from fourth line onwards up to Visishta means along with, associated with, last word. All these lines you have to do contemplation, nididhyasana. Then you get the clarity when we understand Brahma, Aham Brahma Asmi Vritti. This is a very, very important portion. Now let us go to the next topic. 201. Chaitanyameva ajnanasya ashrayo vishayascha घटादि विषयः तमोगुण कार्यत्वात् स्वरूपतः जडः तस्मादज्ञानं तत्कार्यमावरणं च जडे घटादि विषये अस्ति इत्याहुः केचन तदिदम् आपातरमणीयम् विचारदृष्ट्या तु चैतन्ये एव अज्ञान तत्प्रयुक्तावरणे स्तः न तु घटादौ विषये अज्ञानं चैतन्यमेव आश्रित्य तदैव विषयीकरोतीति वेदान्तसिद्धान्तः. What is Vedanta Siddhanta? The conclusion of Vedanta. First, I will introduce this topic, very, very subtle and fine topic. I will try my best to communicate. This topic, Nischala want to introduce for a purpose in future, subject topic sake. If you understand this and keep in your mind, later it is going to be useful. How it is going to be useful, later we will see. Okay. Now, what he want to say here, first independently I will explain. What he want to say is here, that heading itself require lot of explanation. Chaitanyameva Ajnanasya ashrayo vishayascha. So this heading, to understand itself, you require some background. What is that background? Let me explain first. Every day when we wake up, we get some knowledge or other. Morning onwards, from the moment you wake up, and every time you have to get the knowledge. Prati bodha viditam. Bodham bodham prati. That you are conscious of, you are conscious of, you are conscious of. The knowledge about things you get only you can interact with the world. Otherwise, how can you interact? Let us take one object now. Now, I will show you this flower. This flower is called spider lily, this name. It looks like a spider. Spider also has got 6 legs. It looks like a spider. Therefore, now when I show this flower, spider lily, you have got what knowledge? Flower knowledge. SWAMINI said this is a spider lily. Of course, this is white color, you know. A white color spider lily flower. You are seeing. Have you got this knowledge? All of you have got this knowledge, flower knowledge. Jnanam. It is called Jnanam. This Jnanam, flower knowledge, Jnanam is there now. Now let us analyze where this Jnanam rise. What is the locus of this Jnanam? Where it is rising? And what is this knowledge has got two factors. Any knowledge. Now take this flower knowledge. It has got two factors. What are the two factors? Knower. Knower of this flower. You are the knower. The knower is called Pramata. The knower is called Pramata. You are the knower. Therefore, you are called Pramata. Pramata means what? Prama asya asti iti Pramata. Prama means Jnanam. The one who has got a Prama, Jnanam, is called Pramata, the knower. Correct? Now when you know the flower, you the Pramata is required. Pramata, the knower, is the first factor for the knowledge of this flower. So you, the Pramata, number one. What is the second factor in this knowledge? When you see the flower, what is the second factor also involved? Vishayaha. What knowledge you have got? You, the Pramata, knower, known what? What do you know? I know this flower. The flower in the hands of Swamini. In the hand of Swamini, I know the flower. So flower becomes what? An object. Vishayaha. Jnanasya Vishayaha Pushpam. Jnanasya Vishayaha Pushpam. That means what? Jnanasya Vishayaha means the object of knowledge is flower. In Sanskritam, Jnanasya Vishayaha Pushpam. Jnanasya Ashrayaha Kaha. What is, who is Ashraya? What is the locus of knowledge? Where is the locus of knowledge? That is Pramata. Pramata is the locus of knowledge, where in whom this flower knowledge rises. In me, the Pramata, because I know this flower, the knowledge has arisen in me. Therefore, I, the Pramata, am the locus, Ashraya, for this flower knowledge, and the flower is the object, Vishayaha. Without Pramata, without flower, is there a flower knowledge? Can flower knowledge exist? You remove Pramata, can flower knowledge exist? Or you remove the flower, flower knowledge exist? No, it cannot exist. So the flower knowledge to exist, Pramata is required, object is required, both are compulsory. One alone cannot give the knowledge. Flower alone cannot give the knowledge. Knower alone, Pramata only can know the flower. Without flower he cannot know. So both are required. Required? Yes. So locus and Vishayaha. Jnanasya Vishayaha Pushpam. Jnanasya Ashrayaha Pramata. Got it? Now let us come. If Jnanasya Vishayaha, Jnanasya Ashrayaha, very nice. Suppose a person, when he sees the flower, yes, I have shown the flower. Suppose I didn't say this is a spider lily flower. Now just I show the flower. Vishayaha, what type of flower, Ajnanam will be there? Okay. That Ajnanam, what type of flower is this? If I don't say this is spider lily, if I didn't tell you, because you do not know this flower, suppose it is very new flower, suppose you have Ajnanam. You have Ajnanam. What flower is this? You do not know. I am ignorant of that What is that flower? Flower, but I do not know what flower. I do not know what flower. That is called what? I am ignorant of that name of the flower. Correct? I am ignorant of that name of that flower. Therefore, Ajnanam is there. Ajnanam is there. For Ajnanam, what is the Ashraya? What is the Vishaya? For Ajnanam also, just as Jnanam requires Pramata and Prameyam, Vishayaha, Ajnanam also requires Pramata and Prameyam. When Jnanam requires Pramata and Prameyam, knower and object, knowledge requires knower and object. Ignorance also requires knower and object. Ignorance where? In me. Ignorance of what? The name of the flower. I hope you are managing to understand. This is called chiseling the intellect. Very interesting. I love this topic. Okay. Ajnanasya api pramataha is required, pramata required, and object that is required. Ignorance of what? Ignorant of what? Vishaya. Flower name. Where? In whom? In pramata, in me. So ajnanasya vishayaha is required. Ajnanasya pramata api required. Required or not? Just as jnanam, pramata is required, knower is required, and object is required. For ignorance also, ajnanam also, pramata, knower is required, and object is required. Now he is telling, see now this paragraph heading, Chaitanyameva ajnanasya ashrayaha vishayascha. Now you understand what is I am struggling to communicate to you. Ashrayaha Vishayaha. He is going straight away to Ajnanam. First I have given Jnanam about Pramata and introduced, and object introduced. Then I have introduced Ajnanam also, and Pramata is required, and Ashrayaha Pramata, and Prameyam is Vishayaha, object. Upadesha Sahasri, many Prakarana Grandhas, we saw all these subjects not this much elaborately. Okay, Pramata, Pramanam, Prameyam, Prama, all this we saw in Vichara Sagara itself in previous classes. I hope we can go through the paragraph now. Chaitanyameva Ajnanasya Moola Jnanam. Now, Ajnana means here Moola Jnanam, fundamental ignorance. The creation, fundamental ignorance means any, see, first fundamental ignorance about the creation. If I see the world, in this world, there is creation when I see. Whenever the mind sees outside creation, it is born out of ignorance because of Moola Vidya. Moola Vidya has got so many names also. He introduced here. Having understood this locus and this all, now he want to say Ajnanasya Moola Jnanasya. This is Tula Jnana. Outside ignorance, object ignorance is called Tula Vidya. Tula Vidya, it says. But Moola Vidya, Atma Avidya, Atma Ajnanam is called Moola Vidya. Fundamental ignorance. It is called fundamental ignorance. Ghatadi Vishayaha. The fundamental ignorance is in Chaitanyam only, he says. That is the heading. Ghatadi Vishayaha Tamoguna Karyatvat Swarupataha Jadaha. Now this Ghata, very fine observation. See, this Ghata is made out of Tamoguna, of Prakriti. Tamoguna Karyatvat. It is a product of Tamoguna, therefore it is Jadam. it cannot have Swarupataha. By nature it is inert. By nature it is inert. So what? Tasmat ajnanam tat karyavaranam na jade ghatadi ghatadi. Next page. Vishaye asti ityahuhu kechana. Some people say, but we don't accept this. Some people, kechana ahuhu. Some people say. Kechana ahuhu is in the next page, 113. What they say, some people say what? Some people say, Ajnanam, the ignorance, tat karyam avaranancha. Tat karyam avaranam means concealment. Concealment. Jade ghatadi. See, the avaranam and ajnanam are in the pot, they say. They say, where is ajnanam? When you see the pot, you do not know this is a pot. Okay? This, what is they saying? Ajnanam, pot, ignorance. Tat karya avaranam, concealment. Both are in jade. Jade ghatadi. Jada ghatam. Inert pot. Vishaye ahuhu. Some people say the pot, ignorance is in the pot, they say. But what Acharya says, Tadu idam apata ramaniyam. This is very nice. It is a flowery language to listen. Superficially, it is nice to listen, but it is not correct. Okay. Why? He says, Vichara drishyatu, on inquiry. Chaitanya eva, in Chaitanyam alone, Chaitanya eva, Ajnanataha prayukta avarane staha. Chaitanya eva, Ajnanataha means Ajnanam prayukta avarane. That it is in Chaitanyam only. Chaitanyam alone is the ashraya, Ajnanasya. Chaitanyam alone is the Vishayaha. Avarane staha. Ajnanam is, I have ignorance. Where is it? Nischaladasa says that ignorance, I am self-ignorance I am having. Self-ignorance. Suppose any person says, I am have self-ignorance. Where is self-ignorance? Self-ignorance is in the self. Okay, that is what he says. Self-ignorance is in the self. Mula vidya. Mula vidya. Atma eva idamagra asid. Before the creation, what was there? Atma alone was there. Atma alone was there. Afterwards, only because of Mula vidya, therefore the creation is there, born. People talking about creation. Really creation is there or not, that is a big subject. We'll see later. Ajnana ajnanataha prayuktaha avarane. So from ajnanam alone, this avarana, both are there. Natu ghatadau vishaye. This ajnanam and avarana both are not in ghata, but they are in chaitanyam. Ajnanam chaitanyameva ashritya. Ajnanam, that mula jnanam, mula vidya. Mula vidya means fundamental ignorance, that is self-ignorance. Chaitanyameva ashritya. Chaitanyameva means in OC, original consciousness alone, is the locus where ajnanam is resting only in chaitanyam. Ashritya, that means it is the ashraya, locus. Tadeva vishayi karoti iti. That alone is the object, is also chaitanyam. Ashraya is also chaitanyam. Who says? Not Swamini. Okay. Vedanta Siddhanta. This is the teaching of Vedanta. You should not say it is in the pot. Concealment and ignorance both are in the pot. You should not say, because pot is jadam. Pot cannot have ignorance. Pot cannot be the ashraya of ignorance or Vishaya of ignorance. No? Ignorance, Ajnanasya Vishayaha, Ajnanasya Ashrayaha, pot cannot be. Pot can say I have ignorance. Only sentient being can say I am ignorant. So that sentient being is consciousness, Chaitanya. So the self-ignorance is also in me. And about what? About self. That is Ajnanasya Vishayaha api Chaitanyameva, Ajnanasya Ashrayaha api Chaitanyameva. That is the Vedanta Siddhantaha. Details in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.